You're watching South Asia Newsline and have the top stories we are tracking for you on Monday, the 30th of March. Indian killed in Iranian strike in Kuwait, toll rises to 8. US Congress report highlights Pakistan as base for major terror groups. And BNM activists in Geneva flag Pakistan's atrocities in Balochistan. And now for all the details. An Indian worker was killed in an Iranian strike on a power and water desalination plant in Kuwait early Monday, taking the total number of Indian nationals killed in the ongoing West Asia conflict to at least 8. Kuwait's Ministry of Electricity and Water said the attack also damaged a service building and condemned it as a sinful Iranian aggression. Emergency and technical teams were immediately deployed to contain the damage and maintain operations. The incident follows a similar tragedy last Thursday in the United Arab Emirates, where an Indian national died after being hit by falling debris from an intercepted ballistic missile over Abu Dhabi. The Indian embassy had stated it was working closely with UAE authorities to provide assistance. Earlier, the Indian government confirmed that 7 citizens had died in the conflict, with 1 still missing. Monday's casualty raises the toll further. The war, now in the 5th week, began after joint US-Israel strikes on Iran, triggering regional escalation. Iran has since launched retaliatory drone and missile attacks targeting Israel and Gulf nations, hosting US military assets, leading to casualties and infrastructure damage. Efforts at negotiation have so far failed to halt the fighting. And moving on, Pakistan on Sunday said that it was preparing to host meaningful talks in the coming days to end the conflict in Iran. Speaking after talks between regional foreign ministers, Pakistan's Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar said they had covered possible ways to bring an early and permanent end to the war in the region, as well as potential US-Iran talks in Islamabad. Initial discussions between Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Turkey and Egypt had focused on proposals to reopen the Strait of Hormuz to shipping, sources familiar with the matter said. Iran's effective blockade of oil and gas shipments through the strait since the US and Israel began attacking the country on February 28 is spreading economic pain around the world. This comes after Iran accused the US of preparing a land assault while seeking negotiations. Last week, Washington said it had offered a 15-point ceasefire plan with a proposal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz and restrict Iran's nuclear program. Tehran has rejected the US proposal and put forward alternatives of its own.
Pakistan will be honored to host and facilitate meaningful talks between the two sides in coming days for a comprehensive and lasting settlement of the ongoing conflict.
And Pakistan has once again found itself at the forefront, facing the consequences of long-standing support for terror groups, as a US Congressional Research report has stated that US officials have identified Pakistan as a base of operations for numerous armed terror groups, some of which have existed since 1980s. The report said that 12 of these terror groups are designated as foreign terrorist organizations under US law, and most follow Islamist extremist ideology. Despite multiple large-scale military offensives, including airstrikes and extensive intelligence-based operations, the report says Pakistan has been unable to dismantle several terror groups designated by the US and the United Nations that continue to operate from its soil. It also acknowledged that India and Kashmir-oriented terror group Lashkar-e-Taiba was formed in the late 80s in Pakistan and designated as an FTO in 2001. Led by Hafiz Saeed and based in Pakistan's Punjab province and in POJK, it has changed its name to Jamaat-ud-Dawa to circumvent sanctions. LET was responsible for the mass-scale 2008 terrorist assault on Mumbai in India, as well as several other high-profile attacks. The US report bolsters India's stance on Pakistan's continued support for terror groups. The report also points to the Resistance Front, an offshoot of LET, which was behind the Pahalgam terror attack that killed 26 people. TRF has since been designated as a global terrorist organization. Moving on, the Baloch National Movement held a conference in Geneva highlighting alleged human rights concerns in Balochistan. Activists called on global bodies to pressurize Pakistan for accountability. We have a report.
The Baloch National Movement recently held the 11th Balochistan International Conference in Geneva, highlighting alleged human rights violations by Pakistan in Balochistan. The conference, themed Balochistan, 78 years of occupation, human rights abuses, and the failure of international accountability, brought together politicians, academics, journalists, and rights activists. Discussions focused on political and economic challenges, with speakers raising concerns over enforced disappearances, alleged extrajudicial killings, and issues of accountability.
The kids who are living in Balochistan, Masuma Baloch was only 3 months old when her father Janzib was forcefully disappeared. By the age of 5, she is protesting for him. Today, instead of school books, she carries his picture in asking, "Where's my father?" Bramsh Baloch witnessed her mother Maliknaz being killed. She continues to live with deep trauma.
Some of these cases, as I said, reportedly we see cases of sexual harassment or sexual harassments in detention. So shortly we will be sending one communication to the government about these cases of women that have been disappeared also in the Balochistan areas. To end, I would like to say that it is very important that all the victims and the NGOs, the civil society, get engaged with United Nations.
The conference was part of a global campaign by the Baloch National Movement from March 10 to April 9 to highlight the situation in Balochistan. Activists urged global bodies to pressurize authorities in Islamabad for accountability and release of detainees, saying the initiative aimed to seek justice and transparency.
Meanwhile, supporters of Awami League led by former Bangladesh PM Sheikh Hasina staged a protest outside the UN office in Geneva to voice strong opposition to the current political situation in Bangladesh. Holding banners, the demonstrators alleged that the Awami League has effectively been banned and accused authorities of suppressing dissent, targeting minority communities, and restricting press freedom. They claim that since August 2024, the country has seen widespread human rights violations, including alleged killings of political activists, journalists, and intellectuals. The protesters highlighted major political parties, including the Awami League and other secular groups, were excluded from the electoral process, calling the recent elections divisive and lacking credibility. The demonstrators called for the restoration of democracy, constitutional rights, and the rule of law in Bangladesh.
You know very well, Yunus and his gang take the country's power by illegal way, and they keep nearly 18 months this government power, and they create a chaotic situation in Bangladesh. Religious extremism is highest situation. Human rights is degrading every day. And the biggest party of the country, the most popular party of the country, Bangladesh Awami League, was forcefully kept from the participating election by a executive order. So we came here to raise our voice against that impunity, what's going on in Bangladesh at the moment.
And tensions are rising in Nepal after the arrest of Nepal's former Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli as part of an investigation into the deadly anti-corruption protest in September 2025. Violent clashes erupted over the past weekend as his supporters held demonstrations, calling Oli's arrest as politically motivated move by the new government. Protesters were seen with injuries while riot police used baton and tear gas to disperse crowds, attempting to burn tires and block roads near government offices. A government inquiry panel found Oli and former Home Minister Ramesh Lekhak responsible for negligence. Authorities allege they failed to prevent violence during a crackdown that left more than 70 people dead and thousands injured. Both leaders were presented before the Kathmandu District Court. Oli, currently hospitalized, appeared virtually while Lekhak was brought in under police custody. The arrest comes just days after rapper turned politician Balendra Shah was sworn in as Nepal's new Prime Minister. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.